I'm Nicola. I live in Stone in Staffordshire. I'm 47 years old. I first became ill in 2016. I started off just feeling quite tired and with some stomach pains. Had quite a few tests and found out that I needed the Whipple surgery, which is some surgery in the digestive system. About 6 weeks after my surgery, I got a diagnosis of cancer, and I was told it was bile duct cancer, which is quite a rare form of cancer. The surgery had removed the cancer at that point, but I was advised to undergo a course of chemotherapy just to help remove any remaining cells. Obviously, it was a very devastating set of circumstances for me and for my family. I didn't have a lump, I didn't have any fear of cancer, so the news that I had cancer came as a massive shock. It wasn't something that I was expecting at all. And I assumed at my 6 weeks check-up I was just going to be told I'm fine and go home and carry on with life, and that's not what happened. So I had great support from my local hospital, Royal Stoke, in terms of my cancer treatment and my surgery. It happened very fast, and my treatment there, but there was no kind of emotional support or any help in learning to deal with the diagnosis or anything like that. So it was actually when I was attending my chemotherapy sessions at the cancer centre at the hospital, I saw a leaflet for Penny Brohn, which I'd not heard of at all, and it was a Living Well course. It was on 3 separate Fridays, so I knew I could attend that while still doing my chemotherapy, so that was really important for me. So I just had a look at the leaflet. It talked about ways that you can keep yourself well, ways that you can be proactive in your own sort of recovery and prognosis and keeping yourself well emotionally. So I was a bit unsure, but I signed up, went along on the first day, and it was just like a breath of fresh air, really. It was a great group of people on the course. It was people from all different stages of their cancer journey. So one of the biggest advantages I found on going on the course is just being in a room with like-minded people, people who understood your experiences and your journey. As the cancer diagnosis was relatively new for me, I'd found it quite difficult to talk to friends and family about it, because obviously they were very upset and they were going through some emotions as well. So it was really lovely to be in a place where you could talk freely, people understood how you felt and you weren't judged. And the course covered all different aspects of how to support yourself. So it talked about healthy eating, which I found really invaluable. It talked about relationships, emotions. It went into looking at the wider community and how that could support you. And it was like a toolkit, really, that you could, there was little bits of a lot of things, so you could pick up the things that you were most interested in or the changes that you felt were most relevant to you. So at the end of each session, we sort of had a think about what we could do in that particular area to make a change. You know, just something small. It didn't have to be a big change, but there was a lot of information, and it was a very sort of supportive and nurturing environment, and I got a lot out of it. I actually went a couple of days after my chemo sessions each time, and normally I would have been feeling quite low and sort of lethargic and in my bed, and you know, I got up and I went to the course, and I just found it hugely beneficial. It's hard to put into words, really, but I really did find the support and just that extra guidance you needed, because in the hospital they just think about the cancer itself. They don't particularly think about you as a person. You didn't really get any advice on eating well or even coping with the diagnosis. So that was the Living Well course, which I really, really enjoyed. I finished my chemotherapy. I went back to work. had a year of feeling normal, being normal. And then it was actually on a Living Well follow-up day, the same day, I had an appointment with my oncologist. Again, went along thinking everything's fine, no worries at all, and got told that my tumour marker was up. So obviously I had another scan and it was confirmed then that my cancer was back. But straight away I thought of Penny Brohn, and that's the first thing I did. I literally sort of came home, got onto the Penny Brohn website and booked myself onto the Approach course, the residential course down in Bristol, because I just knew I needed the emotional support and I needed the tools and I needed just some guidance to kind of get me through the new diagnosis, well, the same diagnosis again. Luckily I got a cancellation, so within about 4 weeks of getting the diagnosis back again, I was down in Penny Brohn on the course. I drove down on a Tuesday. I'd just had my first set of chemo again. I was miserable, I was tired, I was poorly, I was angry, I suppose. I was lots of things. And I drove down and kind of arrived and thought, oh, I'm not sure if this is the right thing, you know. I was so out of sorts, and literally after 2.5 days on the Approach, I just drove home a different person. Even, you know, my friends and family could see a physical change in how I looked, you know, how I acted. It was an emotionally difficult course, but again we looked deeper into some of the things that we learnt on the Living Well course, and we had small group sessions where again you could talk freely and allow yourself to express your emotions and allow yourself to talk about things that perhaps you don't feel you can talk about with family and friends. So after the end of the 2 days, I just felt uplifted, I felt like a different person, and the place itself is beautiful, the buildings, the surroundings, the food itself is just amazing, and that's something that I've taken away and I've done myself at home. I've bought the cookbooks and I'm trying to make sure that I eat properly, and I love the food. It's not a struggle, it's something that I really enjoy doing. Kept in contact with people I've met here as well, which again is really good because you've got support of people who understand you and support of people who are going through the same thing. And actually through Penny Brohn I've been in contact with a gentleman who's done some promotion work for you as well, who's also got bile duct cancer, because it's quite a rare cancer. I've not ever met anybody with that cancer. So through Penny Brohn I've been in touch with somebody else with the same cancer as me, and we're in email communication. That's, you know, that's really good as well, and that's a real support to know there is somebody out there who's going through exactly what you're going through, and the support there. So I've just finished now another retreat at Penny Brohn, nurturing food. Again, brilliant. We've just exchanged our email addresses and phone numbers again, so I'll keep in contact. So I just feel that it's an absolutely wonderful place to come in terms of a sanctuary, in terms of feelings. It's a safe place to come. It's a place where you feel nurtured and supported. I think it's a fantastic charity. I think it's a charity that, especially in the West Midlands, perhaps not many people have heard of us, of Penny Brohn. So I try and tell anyone that I feel could benefit from Penny Brohn. I do talk about Penny Brohn quite a lot because I really do feel it supported me. I've had one-to-one sessions with the nutritionist and the GP. The GP here's recommended some books that I've bought from the shop, so I've done quite a lot of reading as well on things I can do to support myself at home and away from Penny Brohn. And the things that I read in the books are very much like the Bristol Whole Life Approach, very much echo what we talk about at Penny Brohn. So that's my story.